Why don't you just pay for the orange soda?
Yeah, like where am I supposed to get some money? Oh, if only I could do things for people in exchange for money.
You mean like get a job?
Get a job.
Would you stop passing out?
But I never had a job before.
Well, maybe it's time you get one.
You think Chris would give me a job?
I don't know, but it couldn't hurt to ask. I mean, the worst that could happen is he say no.
The worst thing that could happen is that he could throw things at me, and then throw me in his closet, fat me up, and then feed me to his pet tarantula.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Kenny and Lou Show. My name is Kenny.
I'm Lou.
And we will be your entertainment this evening.
No, this is Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron. I'm Adam.
And I'm Aaron. Woo! Rousing applause.
Yeah, this episode is called He Got Job. It's a Season 3, Episode 18. We are at the back end of Season 3, aren't we?
Yes, a season that started in January. When did this start?
Pretty much, yeah, we were doing like Good Burger in January, so...
Yeah, it's been a long haul for Season 3. We had to take a little hiatus, but we're back, and we've been on a roll recently, Adam, I would say.
I think our last couple have been real solid ones, and this one did not disappoint.
No, not at all. This was a great episode.
Yeah, I watched this a couple months ago and was disappointed in it because it wasn't as good as I had remembered. Then after watching several episodes in a row leading up to it and watching it again, I was blown away by how wrong I was.
In comparison to the rest of the season, it holds up with the funny episodes, and it just blows the bad ones out of the water, in my opinion.
Which is great, because it is written by not your favorite writer, Savage Steve Holland.
Well, isn't Savage Steve I like him, don't I?
Well, let's go over the episodes of his that we've seen so far. A Star is Peeved.
Oh, no.
To Catch a Thief. Happy B-Day Mark. House Sitter. And now He Got Job.
Okay.
So I think this is definitely a redemptive one.
Redemptive, yeah. Some of them are just anxiety for the sake of anxiety. Not really the biggest fan in the year of 2021, but yes, this episode definitely comes in for the kill with Savage Steve Holland.
Speaking of 2021, you had a recent activity in your life about Kenan and Kel. Do you want to share it?
Yes, I don't know why that's speaking of 2021, but
it happened this year.
It happened this week. Yeah, so I was sleeping, and as happens when you sleep sometimes, I had a dream. And being as I had just been in Florida visiting my girlfriend's family and did the drive down from Philly and back up, of course staying safe from the variant.
You make it sound like there's some kind of like Blade Runner monster out there.
No. So I drove back, and you see palm trees the whole way, and it just got me thinking of we drive by the signs for Orlando, and I'm like, oh, Kenan and Kel was filmed in Orlando, and then I was laying in bed, I was sleeping, and then I woke up and I was like, oh my god, I just had a dream, and my dream, Adam, was about how the Kenan and Kel theme song was filmed in Orlando. It was like I was there as they were filming it with Coolio, jumping in and out of fancy cars and all these people around, and they were in Orlando doing the practice run.
They were climbing inside of the globe.
Yup. That's in Orlando, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that's in Epcot, right? And so it's almost like they did this thing with Coolio, but they had to practice before, getting all these people and Coolio being there. And so I was there for the practice. I was watching it unfold. It was young Kenan and Kel having a good time in the streets of Orlando, palm trees and sunshine. And was that an experience?
That sounds like a great dream.
My favorite part about the theme song, now that we're talking about it, is that Kenan and Kel, who at the beginning of the show were young, 15, whatever we...
Yeah, 15, 14.
Yeah, they're just in a car, sitting in the car, pretending to drive it. It's a great theme song. It gets better every week, and that was nice. A nice dream. I hope you all have dreams of similar nature in the future.
Yeah, no, I'm jealous because my Kenan and Kel fandom has been ramping up like recently. Now that we're closing the book on like the main series, or we're in the back 9. Just I feel myself like reaching out for all the material there is. I've been on like Kenan and Kel forums.
Yep, that's probably a scary place to be.
I've been listening to like other interviews of people like on the show. There's a great Kevin and Heath interview that I linked to on the Twitter page. Yeah, I'm learning all the secrets. Did you know that Kevin and Heath were 2 of the clowns in Good Burger?
No.
Yes.
Oh my god.
And you can tell them because they're not union clowns like the rest are.
Oh my god, they hired out clowns.
Yeah, they're the ones wearing like mop hairstyles and stuff like that.
Did they write Good Burger as well?
Yes, they did.
Oh, wow.
That was their cameo.
I wonder if we can get them on the podcast.
They're apparently up for interviews.
If there's anybody to interview, it's got to be some of the creators of this fantastic show. Why don't we jump into it, Adam? How does this episode start, as we alluded to?
So Kitty and Lou come out on stage wearing...
Kitty. Oh, my bad.
Kitty's wearing a lovely dandelion-colored floral ensemble. And Lou is dressed in a very sharp suit. He's got like it's like a green suit. He's got like kind of purplish pants.
They just hop out on stage, this older couple, it seems, and they just welcome everybody. They're like, hello, how's everybody doing? And then Lou just keeps saying, I'm Lou.
That's his line. That's all he says. I'm Lou.
And it's kind of funny, because we've never seen anybody else besides Kenan and Kel greet the audience, right?
Yeah, these two feel like audience polls almost. I want to say they're almost like too good.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They seem to me to be too good to be audience polls. Like they might have just thrown this, but they're perfect. Kenan and Kel enter and are very confused as to who these people are.
Yeah, Kenan's actually wearing a rugby style shirt. And Cal's wearing one of his usual outfits.
And Kitty's confused as well. And she says, well, who are you? And Kenan goes, funny you should ask. I'm Kenan. And then the audience just erupts.
Yeah, and I'm Kel. A bigger eruption. So apparently Kitty and Lou just saw the cameras and thought we'd entertain the people.
Noble.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Maybe Kenan and Kel were late and they're like, oh, the show must go on, clearly.
Yeah, and they really did a good job of getting the crowd ready for Kenan and Kel, because as we have mentioned before, the people who get, whoever it is, Kenan or Kel or whatever, whoever gets introduced second gets the louder applause. So maybe they were greasing the groove for Kenan and Kel.
So that when Kenan and Kel got applause, it's even louder than theirs.
Yeah. But anyways, very grandparent-like figures. Mm-hmm. who seem like they are in need of a job to do.
Yeah. Well, Kenan says, well, this is our job, so get out of here.
Kel says, get your own jobs.
Yeah, and they leave.
They walk off. Kel says, I hope you all get jobs. And then he breaks the fourth wall, looks right at the camera, and is like, what's that? Who are they? They are annoying.
Yeah. And then Kenan really quickly says, finding a job would be a painful experience, and leaves.
It's the best expose we've seen yet.
Yeah, well, we always see like how these transition into the episode, and the fact that it's like almost like clumsy it makes it even funnier.
Kenan and Kel clearly isn't going anywhere with what episode is 18, 19 in season 3.
Yeah.
So they're pretty comfortable, and they're just clumsily going into the episode.
Kel says, "Oh, here it goes," and we enter into Rigby's.
I love going into Rigby's first.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. It just feels like home.
It's like those SpongeBob episode that starts in the Krusty Krab.
Right.
Something's gonna go down.
Right. And what's going down here, Adam?
A lady is buying an apple.
Very nice lady.
Yeah, you're probably thinking, oh, hey, that's a regular occurrence. 22 cents for this apple.
And then she's a little concerned because the apple seems a little mushy. She grabs another one, and then she says, oh, this one's too red. And then Kenan's just rolling his eyes like, I don't really care about this woman.
Yeah, Kenan just kind of lets her go as she continues to bring apples up to the counter for the rest of this scene.
That's right. Yeah, so while this scene is happening, this lady is just like kind of bringing up some apples. Enter Kel,
who makes a beeline right for the orange soda cooler.
Yeah, the refrigerator. He approaches, and there's a bunch of chains on it, and it's all locked up.
Yeah, it looks like 3 big chains kind of all like intersecting it. I thought this looked really cool.
And I don't know, is Savage Steve the one who gives us the creative camera angles?
That's Virgil Fabian, the director.
Okay. Is he directing this, Virgil?
Virgil Fabian is directing this one, so that's why you get the crazy camera shots.
I'm sorry. I got the director and the writer confused. What kind of podcast review co-host am I? So Virgil places the camera behind some orange soda bottles inside the cooler, looking at Kel.
Oh, yeah.
And then the bar is kind of like going across, and then the lady with the apples is like in the background. It's a pretty great camera angle.
It's pretty awesome. I have to say, whenever he's behind the camera, you can tell he does experiments and does cool stuff like this.
Yeah, it's almost like a fisheye lens too. It's really cool.
Yeah, so Cal starts to freak out that his orange soda is locked up. He says, "What kind of inhumane monster would do this?" And if you notice in the background behind him, like a shadow enters the scene. From this view inside the orange soda cooler, you see his shadow first, like he's Indiana Jones, and then we cut and we see that Chris is there.
Oh, let me see this again. I'm just watching. Oh, okay. Oh, I do see that.
Yeah, right.
Very
How cool is
cool.
that?
That's great. Wow, Virgil's getting his money. He's making his money. Kel goes, "What kind of sicko monster?" And goes, "Chris is the sicko," Kenan says.
Yeah. And Chris reports to Kel that he drank $100 worth of free orange soda last year. Not last year, in the last month.
Last month. And as you can see, it says bottles, $1.
Yes, so that's over $100. So that's over 100 bottles of orange soda.
Actually, it says bottles, $1 plus deposit.
Really? I don't know. You have to deposit maybe like you have to get
Down payment?
like cash only.
I figured, I don't know if Rigby's takes credit. Do you think they take credit? I mean,
I don't know if they had credit at this point.
I don't really, I mean, they definitely had credit, but I don't know if it worked like...
I've never seen someone sign a check in Rigby's.
Yeah, I think it's cash only. So we're just going to assume it's $1 per bottle, which means Kel drank 102 liters of orange soda in 1 month, which would certainly cause some kind of disease.
Or at least a dependence, as I think we're seeing here.
Withdrawal. Yeah, Kel starts to kind of go into withdrawal mode, and he starts to, make it very known that he cannot live without orange soda.
Yeah, he's hyperventilating, and after he says he can't live, he faints.
Yeah, well, I think he has a heart attack. He's grasping his heart and his lungs.
We know his insides are all orange because of orange soda, so...
And he's doing the whole thing where he like goes on the inside of his feet and he's just like rocking and then he falls and collapses.
Not only is Kel like really good visually and physically in this episode, but I think I love the way his lines are written. He's like perfectly comically missing the point this whole episode.
Yeah, and it's a perfect balance of slapstick and good lines.
Agreed.
Because sometimes it's really hard for the writer to get that right, but this is...
And it's weird because I think Savage Steve Holland got this wrong like last time on House Sitter.
Yeah.
He really just went in the physical stuff, and what Kel's saying is not really intelligent or helpful.
Yeah, this definitely redeemed him. At this point, Adam, there's about 7 apples on the counter. And this woman just... And Kenan sees what's happening. Chris doesn't care. He goes to the back to floof his hair, I believe.
Yeah, to fuss with his hair.
To fuss with his hair, yeah. I think floof would have been better there. But Kenan pulls out... What does he pull out, Adam?
An emergency case, which says, in case of emergency, break glass. And inside is a small bottle of orange soda. So he breaks it open. He goes over to Kel.
12-ouncer.
This is my favorite part of the episode, I have to say. Great episode, but this is my favorite part because of how genuine it is. Kenan gets down on his knees, above Kel's passed out body, and he opens up the orange soda bottle, and it spritzes, it sprays, and it drops on Kel, and Kel reacts, and then
he just dumps it on Kel.
Then Kenan smiles, and he looks to probably the director, making sure the take's still good. And then he quickly opens it up and feeds it to Kel.
And they're all laughing, and it's a really good moment. Kel's so excited, he's revived, and he runs right over to the orange soda fridge, hits it, grabs the chain and makes a face on the way down, and then falls again.
Yeah, and he starts lamenting about his situation. He says, "Where am I supposed to get some money?
If only I could do things for people in exchange for money."
Then he stands up and Keenan's like, you mean look for a job?
And he falls for the third time.
Man, when you stop passing out. Yeah, so Cal explains that he's never had a job, which I don't think that's entirely true. He was briefly paid like $50 an hour to work at Angus's food bar.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he $50.
I guess that wasn't a real job.
I suppose not. But, Adam, Kenan has an idea for Kel.
Yes, he could get a job here at Rigby's.
He spends so much time there. Why not?
Yeah. and Kel's like, oh man, what? This is terrible. I hate this idea. And Keenan's all, what's the worst that could happen? He says no.
Famous last words in Kenan and Kel, might I add.
What's the worst that could happen?
What's the worst that could happen? We, I just saw something today. It reminded me that in Stoic philosophy, Stoics tend to think of the worst case scenario. And I don't know if that would qualify Kenan and Kel as Stoics, but it would certainly... there's certain contenders because they always think of the worst case scenario.
Yes, and usually they think of it as it's happening to them.
Yes. And then they create their reality, which they're most afraid of.
Right. That's not the worst case scenario that Kel perceives.
What's the worst thing that could happen? Well, Chris could start throwing things at me, and then he could put me in a closet, and then he could fatten me up, and then he could feed me to his pet tarantula.
Yeah.
I love how Kel's brain works. Like the linear thinking is just it's almost there. He has just a little bit too much of randomness.
For sure. All right, so we go into the back room, and this is a new unseen sight that we've never witnessed before.
I love it.
Chris, what's he doing?
Fussing with his hair. He's combing his hair, looking into this tiny, those old wallet mirrors like your mom used to have in her purse.
Yeah, right.
Just to like check your teeth. Yeah. Looking at before they had phones. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has one of those like taped to the wall, the concrete wall, and he's like smiling, brushing his hair.
And he's on the phone. And
there's a brochure on the bulletin board that says protect your family from lead in your home. Which is very timely because that was a big thing in 1999.
Oh, sure. Yeah. On the phone, he is talking to Wendy, a lady.
A hot and juicy redhead. Do you know the scene from The Office?
Yes, yeah, I know that one.
Sorry. Oh, it's so fun. Okay, yeah, he's talking to Wendy, who we learned that is his neighbor who lives across the street, has for the past 20 years, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, and she does not recognize him by name. And he's like, I mow your lawn every Saturday night, which is very sad.
And she says, oh, you're the goofy one.
Yeah. And before he can like say anything, Kenan and Kel come in. And what does Chris do?
He just kind of like holds the phone, literally holds the phone, and he says, "Kenan and Kel, how long have you been standing there?"
And then he hangs up.
So he gives up. He gave up. Let's be honest.
Not the worst phone call in the history of Kenan and Kel, but pretty bad.
Yeah. The worst phone call has to go to the
Roger's boss. The voice message that they leave him.
Yeah,
that's
the one. That's the one.
Mr. Dawson.
I love this scene. This is like Kenan, Kel, and Chris at their absolute best.
Because Kenan's trying to speak for Kel, and he's like, Kel wants to ask you something, but he's really nervous. He wants to ask you about getting a job here at Rigby's.
And then Chris is like, well, Kel, the only way you're going to know is if you come out and ask it.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you have to face your fears or something.
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask.
Very sincere. Yeah, don't be afraid to ask. Just ask.
And then Kel's like, okay, can I have a job?
No!
Are you kidding? Get out of here. Just so real.
He's like, absolutely not. Get away from me.
That I am 100% with Chris. He has done nothing but it's been 45 episodes of Kel coming in and bothering Chris. And making a big mess and just
we've been saying he should have been working there for a while, but he's like, no, you're absolutely not working for me.
Once we get to the end of the show, I want to track like Kel's relationship working at Rigby's, because there's been it's been a real will they won't they. Like, you recall, like, in the limo episode a couple ago, he, like, pretended to work there. Yeah, and Baggensack and Kel, of course, like, he was going to be hired by them.
It's been a love-hate for Chris and Kel.
we go back out to the front of the store, and the lady has just constructed a pyramid of dozens of apples on the counter.
This lady, she has some kind of OCD, something, schizophrenia. Like, if she does not get the perfect apple, she is not going to be well.
Meanwhile, Cal has an idea about how I can impress Chris with a mop.
Kel decides to show his worth by mopping.
Yep. And he does so by mopping directly in front of the door.
Meanwhile, the woman goes to pay for her apple.
She's found the perfect at one.
And she has no money. And then Kenan's just like, leave, get out of here.
Yeah, and as she goes, she slips on the wet floor out the door.
This reminds me of a SpongeBob episode.
About wet floor signs?
No. Patrick trying to work at the Krusty Krab. That's
Yeah,
the exact same.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's the same dynamic that goes on there.
Is this the Krusty Krab? No, this is Patrick.
Yeah, that's Kel working at Rigby's.
Yeah, exactly.
Another customer comes into the store, slips on the water, and does a crazy dive into the front, which throws like cookies everywhere.
Yeah, cookies just explode, and then he's just actually passed out.
Yes.
I would love if there was a scene. Maybe we can make this scene where Chris is in the back and he gets a phone call. And he answers, and it's Mr. Krabs. They just have a conversation.
They're doing all the SpongeBob spinoffs. Might as well pull some classic
why not?
boss characters together. Chris comes down to the front, and what happened here? And Kenan says, well, that customer passed out. He's taking a nap.
Yeah, he's really tired. He's napping. And then Kel goes, yeah, the cookies are napping too. And Chris goes, oh, okay.
I'm off to get my legs waxed.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, he does. Which is,
oh man.
Usually it's Chris's mother doing weird stuff, and this one Chris is doing a lot more weird things than usual.
Maybe he likes pain. One of those people.
Or maybe he's anticipating getting a date soon. He's trying to do a little manscaping.
Maybe he's a swimmer.
He strikes me as a swimmer type, honestly.
Well, what's that supposed to mean? No, I'm kidding.
Is he wearing two watches?
Is this all you know about swimming?
I had an engineering professor that wore 2 watches. And that's how... He said it was because of swimming laps or something like that.
What? The dude he's a professor. Can't he just buy a nice watch that has waterproof and has multiple laps? Anyways.
He was very utilitarian.
I could see. Anyways, so Chris, while the first 2 people who slip on this wet floor kind of are bad actors at slipping. They kind of just run and then crash. Chris actually looks like he slips. He lands on his butt like you would if you actually slipped.
Yeah, no, he does a good pratfall.
Do you think this is a stunt double?
I wasn't paying attention to see if it cut away.
That looks like Chris. I mean,
yeah.
It lands. It shows him lying on the ground, nose up and everything. Looks like Chris.
Yeah, well, that's good. Good for Dan doing those hits. So let's go to the Rockmore's house.
Here we go to the Rockmore's house. I love this line from Kenan coming up.
Favorite line from Kenan this episode.
Maybe the show. This is such a good line. Kenan has the classifieds or the jobs listings in the newspaper. He pulls it out and he's trying to help Kel find a job. And so he says, Kel, there's plenty of jobs for young, smart, hard-working guys. And once all those guys have a job, then you might have a chance.
Yeah. Someone will have to hire you. Yeah. Meanwhile, the Rockmore's parents come in, and
oh, this is so great. This is one of the best Kenan and Kel. I really love this episode because everybody's used the perfect amount
in a really great way. Because Cheryl and Roger come in, and Cheryl's very supportive of Kel looking for a job. She's like, "Good for you," and Roger says, "Get a job doing what? Hanging out at other people's houses, eating their food?"
Oh, yeah. I'm going to hang out at other people's houses and eat their food.
Kel, there's no such job. Yeah, there's something about Kenan's, isms this episode and the things that he says.
He's got great writing.
What are some that Kel proposes to Kenan that he can't really do?
Lion taming.
Nope.
President.
Grass
tester?
I wrote crash test dummy.
Crash test dummy. Okay. Grass tester sounds like he's
Honestly, I think Cal might be qualified to be a crash test dummy.
Yeah, like a human crash test dummy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he like gets thrown around and destroyed bodily very frequently.
And his insides are made of orange soda, so he just like it's very fluid. Nothing can be punctured.
Yeah, and he doesn't need like a degree or something to do that.
Exactly.
He sees that the Rockmores are working on that puzzle on the coffee table, and that inspires him. He's like, "Oh, I can be a professional puzzle putter together."
And then he goes over, and they're like, "Kel, no," because they've already started working on the outside and some of the inside.
If you rewatch the scene, watch Roger, because the entire time he's like losing it and busting up with whatever Kel's doing and saying.
Oh.
It's very good. But Kel, he goes to help with the puzzle, and what happens?
He grabs it and just starts like moving the pieces around and trying to shove them together and force them together. And then he presses so hard down trying to fit the pieces together that the coffee table just breaks.
He's like, you need to. Looks like you need to hire someone to fix this table. So you should hire me.
Roger says, "Come here." Come here, and starts chasing him around.
Yeah,
that's a great scene. That is so good.
Another real good scene. And following this is we're having a third scene as we go to this new set this episode.
We have it's a new set. There's a sign that says donut, and Kel is sitting at the diner. It looks like he's sitting at a diner. There's a checkered floor. There's a small table. There's like a donut display case.
To your Virgil comment earlier, like the camera's outside the window looking in on like this despondent Kel.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
He is despondent. He's starting to not believe in himself, Adam.
No, he's not, which is terrible.
Kenan comes over with a cup of coffee, it looks like. I love this idea. Okay, so there's like a new scene, a new set that they have to go to because they've been kicked out of their house.
Yeah, no, it's really good writing.
Yeah, it's like very fluid.
Cal reaches into the display on the window and pulls out a donut and takes a bite into it. He's like, "Ew, this donut's nasty."
He's like, "Cal, that's a plastic donut."
Oh, it's pretty good then.
It tastes. How do they do that? It tastes just like plastic.
Yeah, it's really that's a great line. Kenan replies to he's been looking through the classifieds. It's like, all these jobs require you to be good at something.
It's almost like a commentary on employment in America.
I think this would be a real trouble on Kenan and Kel. Kel trying to find a job because he's truly he's a klutz, and he's he has random talents suddenly that he is usually surrounded by incompetence.
Let's be honest. It seems like Kel has some kind of attention deficit disorder.
Yeah, but he's also like a cartoon though.
Yes.
He knocks people out with frying pans, and his tongue can stretch a yard long. So
yeah. Well, let's not count that episode into the Kenan and Kel universe.
Okay, the frying pan still counts though. He says, "I got another idea. Can I have $100?" He's like, "No, man. I thought that idea was sure-proof."
Yeah. And then the owner of the donut store comes over and is going to put a sign in the window that conveniently says, "Help wanted."
Cal stands up and bumps into him. And then he goes, "Oh, here's your help wanted sign."
Then he's like, "What, man, where am I going to find a job?" And Kenan's like, "Cal, ask that man," basically.
Yeah, you can work here at Stale's Donuts.
And then the guy says, "I'm Dave Stale, owner of Stale's Donuts."
How do you describe this gentleman?
So, I got Good Burger vibes from the outfit. It's clearly like a skit.
I have to say too, the setup of this shop is like the Good Burger, sets very much.
They were clearly inspired. This is a sad man. He's like a Chris, except the donut Chris, and he's more somber. He has less to live for. Sorry.
He looks a lot like the Dean from Community. If you've ever seen that show.
Yeah.
He's got his name's Kevin West is the actor that plays this sad man.
Sad donut shop owner who has a pink jacket and a black bow tie and a little white hat.
He's got a pretty interesting IMDb page here. He's been in Junior, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
No.
He did a lot of stuff in the 90s. I think he was also in the Super Mario Brothers movie. He's done like little, side roles and stuff like that. And he's also in an episode of Scrubs. So he has that in common with Joe Rose, the Jackhammer Rogan.
Well, thank you for sharing all of that information, Adam.
Sure thing.
Dave Stale looks very sad, and he clearly needs an employee. And he asks Kel, like, well, or have you ever worked at a donut shop before, is the first question. And Kenan jumps up, oh, he's worked at all the donut shops. He's worked at Donut Castle, Donut Schmout, what is it?
Schmonut.
Donut Schmout.
Yeah, and I think Dave smartly, says, great, but I was talking to Kel.
Right, basically, yeah.
Yeah, he basically says you can't vouch for him. I need to judge him, but off of his own character. So far, good interview, I would say. And
then he says, why would you be a good employee at this place?
And Kel gives a terrible answer.
He says, well, I really like donuts, but I don't like paying for them. So I figure if I work here, then I can get a bunch of donuts for free.
And Dave says, well, I'm afraid you're not quite the employee we're looking for.
He starts to walk away, and Kenan, being a good friend, he's like, no, you gotta see what Kel can do and why he'd be a good fit for this place.
Yeah, Kenan's an awesome friend in this moment because he shows, Dave, some of his, Kel's talents that only he knows about.
Right. So he sits Kel down in his chair. He puts a blindfold on him, and then he goes over to this couple who's has a box of donuts at their other table, and he points points towards the audience basically. And he says, "What that is?" And he steals the donuts.
What that is so good.
This is so good.
So he blindfolds Kel and has him smell the different donuts.
That's right. Meanwhile, Kenan has, in attempting to show how good Kel is at this thing, he has stolen donuts from other customers, and Dave Stale is a little bit like what's
apologetic
happening?
To them.
Yeah, and so he gets the donuts, and he starts giving them to Kel, and Kel starts to guess all of the donuts.
And I believe with 100% accuracy. Although I haven't heard of some of these donuts. Honey glaze.
Sure.
Chocolate sprinkle.
Mm-hmm.
Bemble bop. French carudra. Bear claw. And a napkin.
A napkin. He guesses it correctly. And Dave Stale's like, well, that was impressive.
He does seem to know his donuts.
And basically, he gives Kel the job right there.
Yeah, and it's very much and Kel celebrates. He's like, I got a job.
He goes over to the customers. He yells, I got a job. He picks up the phone. He yells, I got a job. He opens the door, yells outside, I got a job. And then he does a little backflip handstand type deal. Goes over to Kenan and says, I got a job.
Yeah, and then he says, what if I can't do it? And that's our commercial break.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's Kel's like, no, of course you can. And they both have very unsure looks.
And the Kel looks at the camera. Kel's a big looking at the camera guy.
Especially this episode.
Especially. Okay, so that's really good pre-commercial.
Mm-hmm.
We come back and we get a nice Virgil view of the donuts, and then we zoom up and we see, it's like all the donuts at the display case. We zoom up and we see Kenan and Kel kind of standing there. So Kel is wearing, he's all dressed up in his uniform. He's got a white shirt. He's got a bright pink, like a hot pink, not quite hot pink, just like a faded pink jacket. He's got a black bow tie, and then he's got this white little sailor cap.
Yeah, he's like one of those ice cream sailors, but for donuts.
Yep. Kenan's wearing a blue shirt with the green short sleeve Oxford button down.
Yeah,
you know the deal.
Classic Kenan shirt. And Kenan is postulating, looking at these donuts.
Kenan looks down into the display case and sees a jelly donut. He says, "Jelly donut. You know what would be good if you put peanut butter in there, and then you had a peanut butter and jelly donut." And Kel goes, "Peanut butter and jelly? Why would you have a peanut butter and jelly donut?"
He's like, "Who put those two things together?"
He's like, "The sandwich? Oh, never mind."
Yeah. Do you think that this sounds like a good idea? Because to me that sounds delicious.
Excellent idea. I don't know why that's not a thing everywhere.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that since I rewatched this episode in high school. I'm like, why isn't that a thing yet? It's been
I'm just screaming into the void. Why is that not a thing?
It's been 10 years.
That could be at our
And our football
Major League
stand.
Ballpark
Yeah,
stand.
Major League
Minor
League
League
Baseball stand.
Minor League Baseball stand, yeah.
Yeah, peanut butter jelly donut. I for sure.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. I feel like you could open up a donut store and just sell that.
Yeah, like that could be your only thing, and you do well.
Yeah. I mean, come on. When I used to be sad, I would get 2 Eggo waffles, toast them, and then make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and eat them.
So that sounds like a good brunch. The world's best brunch.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Pretty solid. I would recommend it.
My college did that with French toast,
There you go.
which I thought
Peanut butter and jelly is classic. I used to not like it when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, I'm a fan. I have it every day.
You still have it every day.
Yeah, it's a great staple.
It is quite the staple. Just like orange soda. And donuts.
So Dave's there. He's doing orientation with Kel, and he's kind of asking Kenan why he's there.
And he's like, "Oh, I thought I would just hang out a little bit." And then Kel goes, "No, Kenan, like you have to leave. I need to do my work here, and you can't be here distracting me all day."
Yeah, it's distracting and downright unprofessional. Which is so funny because, as Kenan points out, it's like, "But you're always at like Rigby's."
Right. Always.
Yeah, and they're just like, bye-bye, and like they get rid of him.
And Kenan, before he leaves, he grabs the please take a number little thing. And he's like, this is mine. I'm taking this. Because he's very upset that they kicked him out.
I feel like that wasn't in the script.
Yeah, no, that was just Kenan being Kenan.
Kenan improving.
So Cal's trying to be a good employee here. And to do that, he wants to make sure he's following directions very carefully. So Dave Stale leads him to the back of the little bakery area. And he shows him the batter bowl.
Yes. Cal puts his hand in it and loses his watch immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah.
And you can start to see Kel unravel. You know, it's like this is what happens whenever Kel is around a mess. Like remember the picture imperfect or literally every other the turkey episode. Like whenever Kel is in a kitchen or in a space where very important things that have a like a set order and a careful way of doing things, Kel messes everything up.
Kel plus food equals bad.
Bad.
It was bad when he had to feed Norman the fish.
So bad.
It was bad when he had to, like, it was in the freezer. Just don't put food around Kel. Nothing good happens.
Yeah. Orange soda, though, he could handle. That's probably why he drinks orange soda.
He puts all his points into orange soda when it comes to food.
That's right. That's his main source of nutrients. I didn't think that children or young people used to be able to survive on only sugar. But when I was teaching this summer, some of those kids just survived on sugar. They would drink a Mountain Dew and just eat candy. And they would fall asleep.
Wait, how do they fall asleep if they're up on Mountain Dew?
Well, they're going crazy, and then as soon as it's time to do work, they just crash. And then oh man, it was a mess.
Dave is describing this machine that creates the donuts. Do you know what it's called?
No.
The Donut Master 2000.
Oh, fantastic! We need to compile all the machines in this show, like the Wasabi 9000. Yeah, the base. The creativity in Kenan and Kel, it is like, second to none.
Their world's full of these what I'm just going to call Nickelodeonisms.
Yes.
When they make, I think Pete and Pete was another classic Nickelodeon show that does all kinds of stuff like that with different brand names and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. So anyways, this is how the machine works. There's the batter bowl, and then there's a tube, and the tube feeds the batter into the oven. And then the donuts are pressed, shaped, and cooked. And then Dave walks Kel over to the front, presses the big red start button that starts the donut process, and there you go.
Yeah, as he's showing Kel this, the machine like fills with jelly. Kel suggests to him like, oh, you should put peanut butter in with the jelly to make like peanut butter jelly donuts. And Dave is enamored with that idea.
Which he should be, as any donut shop in the world should be. I don't know why this is not commonplace.
Exactly. And he's like, we're going to get right on that. This is going to be the start of a beautiful employeeship. Then he bites into a donut. And what's in the donut?
Kel's watch. Baked to perfection, might I add.
Yeah. And that doesn't really faze Dave. He's just kind of like, all right, get back to work.
My favorite part about this is how Dave just picked up a donut and just bit into it.
That's what he does, you know?
Like, that's just... that's it.
He's a little hypocritical because he was telling Kel that, like, we don't do that here.
Right.
And they shoot Kenan away because he was asking for, like, free samples earlier, so...
Okay, so we go back to Rigby's, and you're like, okay, Kel's messing things up over at his job. No harm done with the watch. It was just an accident. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to see what Kenan's doing at Rigby's, and what's he got going on here, Adam?
He's doing a milk bottle toss, except instead of a ball, he's got an apple, and instead of milk bottles, he's got boxes of cereal.
Winding up for the pitch.
I have to say, I'm a little disappointed in the names of the cereals in this episode. There are canonically like great cereals in this show, like Google Puffs.
Yes, which led to the invention of Google, and here we only have Raisin Bran.
Crispy Bran Flakes.
Toasted Oats.
And Corn Flakes. Just snore. What a boring collection of cereals.
Boo.
So Kenan winds up and pitches the apple. It, like, explodes against the counter, not even anywhere close to the...
Yeah, or the like, cabinet. But he really threw it. He, like, really threw it. It could have hit anything, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like he wasn't supposed to miss.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Yeah.
And he turns around and he's like, "Oh, did you see that?" And there's just like a lone 2-liter orange soda sitting. It's just like right where Kel usually is.
Yeah, it's real sad. And Kenan does something I think we've seen him do before. He goes to the phone and he calls Kel.
That's right.
And Kel on the other line is very short with him. Kenan, while he's dialing, is interrupted by our new old lady patron.
Well, he makes the call, hangs up, and then our old lady patron, who's wearing a wonderful, like, cheetah print shirt that has, like, even on the sleeves, it has, like, cheetah shadows.
Oh yeah, it's real crazy.
It's really, it's wonderful, honestly.
I will say real quick, the phone, he's like, "Kel, how's it going?" And he's like, "What do you mean you can't talk to me?" And he just hangs up on him. Kel's almost the better employee than Kenan is.
That's right, yeah. And Kenan's like, a stupid donut job.
Yeah, so the lady comes in and she says, "Excuse me, young man. Are any of these items for sale?"
Yes, this is a grocery store. We sell groceries. I see. It's the same bit. It's the same bit, and it's just outstanding.
Yeah. So this was a surprise cameo for me. I was not expecting to see this character ever again. Floyd the jeweler shows up.
Is that who that was?
Yep, Floyd the jeweler.
What the heck? I had no idea.
From Surprise, Surprise, and all the way back in Diamonds Are for Roger.
Wow.
Yeah, Roger's childhood friend that owns a jewelry shop in Chicago.
That's right, and he gets some toilet paper, it looks like. And it almost looks like he's waddling in.
Yeah, there's a very subtle bit here of how he has to go to the bathroom. So he runs in and grabs the toilet paper, and, like, Kenan is, like, talking to him. He's trying to convince him. He's like, "Hey, do you want to, like, come here and, like, hang out with me and drink orange soda?" And he's like, No, I gotta go. I'm in a hurry. So, yeah, no, that's the joke.
That's just funny.
It's that he's out of toilet paper and he's...
Yeah, and then to pay, he pulls out this wad of cash. It must be at least like $1,000.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. I guess he does jewelry stuff in Chicago.
That's a lot of cash to be carrying around.
He should have a safe box.
Maybe he's a criminal of some sort.
I was thinking that. I'm like, oh, maybe he's the Diamond Bandit. But no, we established who the Diamond Bandit was.
I mean, that would make sense. You know, you steal merchandise from your own store.
Or he's like in with them for the insurance money. That's not a bad idea, huh? That's
been done many times, I'm pretty sure. Have you ever seen a crime show? It's always the person who's right under your nose the whole time.
Yeah, I guess so. We'll explore him more if we ever see him again. Kenan throws another apple in frustration. And where does it land?
In this old lady's mouth. And she pulls it out very gently and hands it to Kenan. And her dentures are just stuck in the apple.
Yeah.
And she doesn't really seem to mind that she was just pelted with an apple.
She just says, "I think you dropped your apple." And then she puts her cart back and leaves the store.
She's so kind.
Yeah, she's so kind for being like troubled in the head at her old age.
Yes, a little bit of dementia did not dampen her kindness.
No, it didn't. Chris shows up with one of Stale's donuts.
Their new staple donut.
Yes.
A peanut butter and jelly donut.
And Kenan's all like, that jerk, he stole my idea. What does he do?
He takes the donut and gives Chris the apple with the dentures in it and storms off during his shift.
Yeah. Chris goes to like brush off the apple, and
No, he goes to bite it, and he's like, ah!
yeah, he goes to bite it, and like the teeth line up, and he almost bit dentures. It's gross.
Yeah, that's rough. Meanwhile, this scene over at Stale's Donut is really funny.
It's so good.
Roger and Cheryl enter.
And yeah, they're congratulating Kel on his new job.
And they're like supporting him, that's a nice thing to do. Like when I used to work at a restaurant, mom and dad, and maybe sometimes like friends would come in, and
But Roger had ulterior motives.
Roger's like, why don't you sneak us a couple free samples?
Yeah, why you slip us a few free donuts?
And Cal's like, I don't know, that's not really a good idea. And Cheryl's like, Roger, just pay
Just
for the
pay
donuts.
for the donuts.
And he's like, no, give me free donuts.
And Cal's like, okay, yeah, fine. And he starts grabbing some, putting them in a brown bag, and he gives them to Roger.
And then they start to walk away. And this is just straight up rude from the Rockmores. Like, are you joking?
Yeah.
Just pay for the donuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this is definitely Roger is some comeuppance is about to occur.
Comeuppance, yes. Cal pulls out this red button, puts it on the counter, and slams it down. A siren goes off, alerting everybody that there's been a robbery. And then there's luckily 2 cops sitting at the donut shop. Go figure.
Yeah.
And they get up and they get Cheryl and Roger, and they basically just like arrest them.
In like 5 seconds flat, these cops spring up, grab Roger with both, like each of them grab one of his arms, and they're just out of the store.
Well, they've been so fueled up by their donuts, Adam. They're lifeline. They're the source of energy.
They just immediately arrest Roger, and Cal's like waving at them, and he says 2 great lines. First, he says, "I'll see you tonight at dinner," which is, if you think about that for a second, he's gonna go to their house tonight to eat food that he's not gonna pay for.
Yeah.
And he just refused to give them free donuts.
Exactly.
And then he says, my favorite Kel line of the episode.
This is so good.
People quote a lot of season 1 Kel stuff, like I dropped the screw in the tuna. I think this is one of the Kel great lines.
I think so too. Go for it, Adam.
Nobody takes nothing from the donut shop.
It's so good. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, and Dave's just like, hiring you is one of the best things I've ever done.
And Kel just comes right out, and he's just like, well, then you must be a sad old man.
He's like, I am. And he cuts Kel a check for his great peanut butter jelly donut idea.
500 smackaroonies.
Oh, yeah. And he offers to pay him $500 for any other new ideas that he might have.
Kenan comes in, and he is just mad that Kel took his idea and used it, to make him seem like a great employee.
Yeah, and Kel immediately, like a good friend, feels guilty. And he's like, I feel dirty.
Yeah, his conscience is just firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, he's so empathic. And he immediately gives Kenan the check. And he's like, here, I got paid for it, so you can have it.
And Kenan sees it. It says $500. And he's like,
Yeah. I don't want your measly only $500. $500.
He's like, I better just quit. He goes, actually, Cal, before you quit, let's give this thing another shot.
Meet me back here tonight when the store closes. So apparently they go in at 3 a.m., to experiment with different donut ideas.
Until 3 a.m., Adam.
Until 3 a.m., yes.
Probably from, donut shop closes. It's probably not an all-day thing. So they were probably there for a long time.
Yeah, and this is, I gotta say, this is a poor move on Kenan's part. And I think this comes out of jealousy. I think this is a long-range plan for Kenan to kind of use Kel's new job to get rich quick. And he doesn't want Kel working there anymore.
Well, that's what Kenan... I think he wants Kel to stay there as long as it benefits him.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Yeah, he just wants the money.
Okay, so in that case, he sees this opportunity and he gets overly enthusiastic about it.
Kenan doesn't care about much if it means that he's going to make a quick buck.
Yeah. So
He's the classic, like, allured by money and things.
he shifts into quick buck mode
Yeah.
as he and Cal stay up late coming up with new donut ideas.
Okay, so some of these donut ideas are horrendous. There's a salt-filled donut.
Which is I want to say a bad delivery, not too bad of a thought process. Think about like a pretzel bun type
Salted
donut.
caramel type.
Yeah.
Or maybe not even caramel, but yeah, pretzel bun. Yeah, pretzel donut.
I think there's a way to make a salty type of donut.
A sweet and salty at the same time.
Oh yeah. They just missed that sweet part. They just fill the donut with salt.
Yep. Oh, okay. And then we have an orange soda filled donut, which Kenan squeezes and orange soda comes out, which maybe like an orange jelly type donut.
Ooh. Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, instead of jelly, like orange jelly, like marmalade.
They have like frosting that tastes like Coca-Cola. I'm sure they have frosting that tastes like you know, orange soda.
Adam, I feel like we should almost open a donut shop because our ideas are pretty darn good.
Well, I don't know if we can fix this next one, the fish-filled donut.
No.
No, I don't see any way of that working out.
No, not really.
Neither the last one here. Do you have this?
The mayonnaise filled donut.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
Now, if we had like a tuna salad, like, and then it was like a salty bun, you might be able to get something to work. But the sweetness in the fish, that's hard to pull off.
I don't see the fish one working. The dialogue too is it's varied. They're not just going line after line. Kenan's like, "You try the fish-filled donut," and then Kel's like, "No, I already tried the mayo-filled one."
And then up until this episode, at this point in the episode, everything was plausible. Like even the crazy Donut Master 2000 was a possibility. Something like that. It definitely
We go a
exists.
little off the deep end in the last like 5 minutes here.
Not even 5 minutes, more like
3 minutes.
minute and a half.
Yeah.
Cal wheels over 2 giant donuts.
Like inner tube sized donuts.
Like, yes, prop donuts that look like they belong on the top of a giant donut shop. Maybe
Yeah.
like Mondo Donut.
They're what Iron Man hangs out at in that movie.
Right.
Randy's Donuts. Like it's
Yeah. Giant donuts. 4 feet high.
So, and Kel's thought process is, if people like regular sized donuts, they'll really, really, really like a big donut.
He says they'll definitely like a really, really, really big donut. And so that's what this donut's called, a really, really, really big donut.
Yeah.
And so I think you could kind of do this. Like if you had like a plate-sized donut and you put like a funnel cake, except, you know, instead of funnel cake, you did like a big donut and you put like...
I'm sure this, like, the world's largest donut beats this. No problem.
Oh, well, for sure. But I mean, like something that you could sell, you know, like a plate-sized donut.
Plate sized, yeah, like, I would almost, like, go for, like, a donut, like, necklace. There's a donut shop down the street from me that sells one that's pretty, like you said, plate size, pretty big. It's like a cake almost.
Did you say donut necklace?
Yeah.
Like a candy necklace?
Yeah, except it's donuts instead.
Like small donuts?
Yeah,
Or like a big one?
Little donuts that you can eat as you have it.
This is gonna get your neck all greasy and sticky.
But
That's a terrible idea. That is the worst idea you've ever had.
yeah, I guess not. And the larger, just one big donut as a necklace is also bad.
I think you could have like a donut medallion. So like you have like a necklace that has this little plastic tube that fits a donut, and then you clip the donut in there, and then you're walking around with the donut, like one.
And when you want to bite, you pull it up and have a bite.
Yeah, I think that would work.
I think you got the best version of donut jewelry right there.
Okay.
Let's
But-
call
well,
Floyd. Let's call Floyd's Jewelers and get him to hit on this.
I think that's a possibility. I can see that as a real possibility. Well, anyways, Kel suggests that with these really, really, really big donuts, people can put them around their waist and then just take a bite whenever they get hungry.
Kenan and Kel chaos ensues, and the lines that Kenan says in this one make it so much better for me. Like,
Okay, I don't have any, so let's hear it.
despite what's going on screen, what Kenan is shouting is really funny.
So essentially what happens, Cal puts this giant donut with blue powder, like blue icing, on top of Kenan, and it traps him, so he can't move his arms.
His arms get stuck.
And then Cal puts this donut that's pink, and he puts it on top of him, and his arms get trapped. And Kenan's like, don't do that. And so Kenan's like kind of wearing a blue shirt, and he has this blue donut, and Cal's wearing the pink shirt, and he has a pink donut, and they are kind of just fumbling around, and eventually they hit this the start button, and then all these donuts start being made.
Yeah, he hits start, and Kel also breaks it shortly after. So donuts are shooting out of this thing like crazy. It's basically this whole episode is just Good Burger, like like shortened down.
Yeah, Kel has a great recipe that like saves the business, inspires the manager, and gets him a promotion and some extra money. It's like, we've seen this.
Yeah, you've seen this before. So these are the things that Kenan says in the scene. First, he says, "This is bigger than a pastry ought to be." Then he says, after, "My arms are stuck. Bad things are happening." Then after Cal puts his on, and he says, "Now we're in a predicament." So it's really just meta lines coming straight out of him.
And yeah, the donuts just keep coming out of this machine, except instead of just coming out, they're firing out. We cut to Kenan and Kel, donuts around them.
How many donuts does it look like there are in this scene?
1,000. There's 1,000 donuts.
I also wrote over 1,000.
There are donuts everywhere.
I think, inspired by the name Stale's Donuts, they must have been like saving up stale donuts from shops for like weeks to get this many.
I don't know how they did this.
It seems like this is the grossest like thing that's ever happened on Kenan and Kel.
They look real too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're real. They're just stale. You wouldn't know the difference, and they'd probably be able to buy them for dirt cheap.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And they're throwing them at Kenan and Kel. In comes Dave Stale. He opens the door. A bunch of donuts fall, and he's like, "What is happening?"
Yeah, and Kel, Kenan does. I would say it's a very efficient piece of dialogue here. He says, "Hey, Kel's boss, or should I say former boss, we made donuts for the next 20 years." And that's the end of the scene.
And these donuts are flying. They're flying at Kenan and Kel. They're like going in Kenan's mouth.
Yeah, they're trying to like eat them, and it's just
yeah. It's pretty funny. So that's the episode. Adam, I don't have the outro again for the 10th week in a row.
Outro is good. Kenan comes out wearing like a brown outfit, and Kel's wearing this insane camo like sweatsuit.
Oh, okay.
And Kel's also wheeling a giant like bakery tray of donuts.
Oh.
Kel's complaining because he has a stomach ache from all the donuts that he ate. And Kenan's like, "Why are you doing that?" And he's like, "Well, we had to pay for all those donuts." Kenan's all, "Well, don't eat them all at once." I'm not. I'm eating them one at a time. Only 8,523 more to go. Kenan says, "I do believe I know a way that we can get rid of all those donuts and get free skydiving lessons at the same time." Kel, grab 8,000 donuts, then 500 donuts, then 23 donuts, and meet me at the airport. Come on! And he looks at his camo. Shifty. And then Kel says, "Kenan, where am I supposed to get all those donuts?"
Oh my god.
And then, here it goes. And he does like a neat little dance as he pushes the cart away. And that's the episode.
Wonderful.
Whose fault do you think this episode was? Kenan's or Kel's?
Well, it was going really well. I suppose you could go back to the beginning of why does Kel need a job? And it's because he drank all the orange sodas.
Yeah, he got a lot of like free stuff from Rigby's, so he has to pay him back.
But the plot of the episode, it seems like it's a 50-50, like a neither.
I'm going to say a 50-50.
Yeah.
Because Kenan is the one that kind of messes things up at the end. Like,
Right.
Sure, Kel has a job that he, but it's Kenan's, maybe it's not jealousy, but his, get rich quick, got them in trouble quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have just gone home and done the experimenting too, slowly. They really had to get out early, so.
Well, we had to finish the episode, Adam.
Yes, we did.
Can't have it end in peace.
Yeah, it would have been a pretty boring episode otherwise.
I think all of the episodes would be boring if they listened to our suggestions.
That's true. All in all, what are your final thoughts?
I really like this episode. Great use of all the characters involved. I like even like Dave Stale had a good role.
Mm-hmm.
Great camera work, great writing. Everybody like hit the right lines. It was really, really well done.
Yeah, firing on all cylinders. I gotta agree. Versus like Picture Imperfect, I docked that a little bit because of there was no like Roger and Cheryl, and this one is made up for it in spades.
I think so too.
Yeah. So on IMDb, this episode has a 7.2 out of 10.
Oh no, that's low.
It is low. It's ranked 48 out of 62, which is real. Yeah, it's in that's a lower third.
That's not right.
I agree as well. This is a pretty solid episode all around. Aaron, out of 10 bottles of orange soda, how many would you give He Got Job?
I'm between 8.5 and 9. I'm gonna say 8.5, and we'll see if that needs a readjustment.
Very good. I'm also up there with you. So early this season, I gave House Sitter a 9. Another Savage Steve episode. I think this is Savage Steve's best episode. So I'm encouraged both by how much I liked it and that rating to give it a 9 as well.
Very nice.
Yeah, it rocked. It was great. I was happily surprised.
It did not disappoint.
Not at all.
So, Adam, what do we have in store for next week?
We've got some clothes encounters next week with our
Clothes Encountered.
Yes.
Encounters. Another Virgil directed episode written by Andrew Hirsch.
Andrew Hirsch, I think, is a newer writer in our block.
Seems like it.
Yeah, this is actually the only episode that he wrote.
Oh, wow.
So
we're going to see how it goes. And Adam, we also have another only next week. Would you like to share with our audience, or is that going to be a surprise?
That'll be it's not a big surprise, but we have another wonderful fan of Kenan and Kel joining us next time. So look forward to that.
It's going to be a great time, everybody. We hope to see you there. And any other final words, Adam?
Take us out.
Go buy a donut shop, or a donut from a donut shop, and maybe even add some peanut butter. Until next week, everybody. Here it goes.
Thank you for listening. You can send us an email at KenanCalPodcast@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at anchor.fm/KenanCalPodcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all at KenanCalPodcast. Kenan saying, like, you guys should put, what's Kenan's idea?
Did you have a seizure?